Welcome to 19th lecture of second chapter of comprehensive data science, machine learning and artificial intelligence course. Now here we want to start writing some simple Python scripts. However, some instructions I have already written here. For example, it is written that each of the script is already ready to be executed into Jupyter Notebook, demonstrating fundamental Python capacities which are vital for beginners who are learning Python. The example starts from basic string manipulation and extends to more structured data manipulation, providing a solid foundation in Python programming. However, the data manipulation etc. will come actually in the next chapter, because for that we require discussion about two at least important Python libraries, Pandas and NumPy, and third any one library for visualization or plotting, maybe Matplotlib or maybe Plotly or Bokeh or that kind of library. We have not discussed any such thing, so therefore these scripts will still not be treating data science, but it is a general Python script. However, some of these are quite strong scripts. The reason is that I intended to divide my entire this data science machine learning AI course into two parts. First part is Python and statistic concepts, and then second part is machine learning and further development of that course. So this Python and statistic concepts, that is a general course. General in the sense that it is not only useful for data scientists, but it is also useful for someone who wants to develop a web app or someone who wants to develop a desktop application using Python. And nowadays, the job market has become so tough that a new job role is coming into picture, that is called full stack data scientist. Now that full stack data scientist does not only the back end work or the data science related work, but he also develops the front end of the app, and at least he should be able to show his work to someone who is within the company. Thereafter, if he may not be expert in HTML and CSS, JavaScript, or even Python's front-end development tools, that is okay. But he should be at least be able to develop a basic Python front-end, or say Python Flask application, Django application, then Streamlit application. And for developing those applications, something which is actually visible on the screen and with which your end user can interact by using simple buttons and text boxes and sliders and everything, that requires this type of Python knowledge also. So strong Python is not going to harm anybody. In fact, it is going to help only for anybody whether he wants to do data science or he does not want to do data science. Okay. Now I have also written here that some scripts are tough, so that you should not lose heart. Because why they are tough? Not because they are logically very difficult, but we are using certain libraries which we have not yet introduced. So I will have to keep on explaining each and every sentence. Okay. And this is very important. Learners are expected to ask themselves a question while doing a repetitive task, that can I automate the task using a Python script? And in 99% you will be able to do that. So this is one big advantage of Python compared to other. Say, for example, what I am saying is, suppose you are doing web scraping. Now web scraping means you are trying to get the data, because data science begins with first data. You have to have the data, and there are certain sites like gov.in or other which legally allow you to scrap them as long as you follow certain discipline and rules. They allow you to scrap the data. Even worldwide also, many governments are there which have allowed to scrap the data. Now you have scrapped the data, that is fine, but you are arranging them in different files. Now the file names are random, and there are 100 different files which you have collected, and you want to rename each file to say eCube. eCube is this eCube Analytics, my firm's name. So eCube chapter 1 file 1, eCube chapter 2 chapter 1 file 2, and so on up to eCube chapter 1 file 100. Now the question is, will you manually right click and then click the rename button and keep on doing? No, you should always explore an option. Means nowadays you even have the option of using this kind of chat GPT. So you can always explore that option, and here you can write that I have multiple Python files in my folder. Say suppose your folder's name is downloads, and they are named, suppose the files are named very randomly, say AAXB1, comma, another is AAXB2, and so on up to, say they are named, last is named AAXB200. Okay, so there are 200 different data files which are gathered from different places. Okay, or from same website, but some different data files. Now, give me a Python script that renames all these data files into as I take suppose AAXB, I want to replace that by EQ underscore CH1 1. Okay, then quote over, then second EQ underscore CH1 2, and so on. And let me clarify to ChatGPT. That means I want to replace which word AAXB by EQ underscore CH1 underscore. Okay, so that is how I want to do. If you see this prompt, then it is very clear that I want to rename each file. So I want to remove this AAXB, and instead of that I want to put EQ CH1 underscore. So if I put EQ CH1 underscore, then it will become EQ CH1 underscore 1. Then here if I remove this and put EQ CH1 underscore, then it will become EQ underscore CH1 underscore 2. So that is how all files will be renamed. So give Python script for multiple Python files even is not necessary, multiple files you can say. Okay, so give me Python script to achieve this, and you will see that all your manual work would be done by this Python script. So you just have to open this Python script in maybe PyCharm or VS Code or even command prompt, and replace this by actual path, say C users EQ downloads. Okay, and then execute this by first entering into the Python and writing that suppose you have saved this script on a notepad and you have given it name that my file renamer .py. So then open the command prompt like this. And once you cd to that directory, here is my command prompt, and just make a cd, that cd to c colon backslash users backslash EQ. I don't even remember whether I have capital EQ or small EQ, but anyway, and downloads, and suppose you go to that, yes, it is capital EQ, and then here that file is stored. Suppose name of the file is file renamer.py. Then first you write Python and then run that file. So, or here even without running Python separately, you can write here only Python run file renamer.py, and that's it. Then whole folder in which those 200 files are saved, all the files will be renamed within a fraction of second. Now you can understand the power of this, and this is not only for one file or 200 files, but even you can have 2 million files in one folder, and all of them will be renamed. So that is what I have written. That as soon as you see any repetitive task, then think this question: can I automate the task using Python script? And in 99% case, you will be able to automate that, and that is one big advantage. And there are two main drivers of efficiency in modern computer science. One is AI, and other is automation. Okay, there is one such book also on Python, Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. This is one book which is must read, and you should try to read this book. So that will give you more than sufficient practice. As I said, we have 17 chapters on this Python, and we will dig far deeper. So you don't need to worry if you can't read anything. Now this is the first script. Print a string and then print its reverse. The code is very simple except one line. So here I take one string, hello world, and I print that string. Now I want to reverse that string. The string is stored in a variable s. So up to these things are easy. For example, if I comment out this thing and print this, then you can see that original string is hello world, and that is printed here. Fine? Okay. But now I want to reverse it. And for reversing, I am using a new variable, reversed s. Original string is s, so then this is reversed s. And I write s, then square brackets, and colon -1. And this magically will give this whole word string in reverse direction. That means exclamation will come first, then D will come, then L will come, then R will come, then the O will come, then W will come, then a space will come because that is also there here. Then comma will come, O will come, L, E, H. Okay, so let us see first whether it is actually doing that or not. And now print that reverse. And you can see that is what I described exactly, that kind of string is getting printed. Now you need to interpret this. What is happening here? So actually this S after S, this is there, that is having standard this type of format: start, colon, end, colon, step size. That means whenever such a symbol is used, the very first thing is the starting index from where you have to start. The second is the ending index where you have to end, and step size is how many characters you have to walk in each step. So traverse through the string from this starting index to this ending index in this much step size. Now at least step size is mentioned 1. So I know that at a time I have to traverse through this string hello world only 1 character at a time. Okay, fine, that much is clear. Now this is -1. Minus sign indicates that you have to not start from left to right normal, but you have to start from the right end and go towards left end. So that means it is showing that traversing must be done in leftwards direction and 1 character at a time. So actually start index, that means is implicitly given. So that is why nothing is written here. Okay. So if nothing is written, then start index is considered 0 or begin. Okay. So start equals default value of start equals beginning of the string, and the default value of end is equal to end of the string. So here beginning will not start from the edge, but it will start from this exclamation because of this minus sign. Okay. So because you have to move from right to left. So if it starts from here, so that is why nothing is specified, means start from the beginning of the string and go up to the end of the string. Okay, go up to the end of the string and move 1 character at a time. Move 1 character at a time. So take string S, start from its this end, go up to this end and move 1 character at a time. Whatever new string you obtain in that manner, store it in a new variable reverse S, and then try to print that variable. So that gives me the required reverse the string. Now key concepts are here: string slicing, and I have given a detailed explanation. Much of the explanation is already done by me in this discussion just now. But I want to say that this is not only applicable to strings, but same thing is also applicable to list or any other sequence type. Sequence types means tuple or maybe any other type which is linear sequence. Okay, so there you can use the same indexing mechanism if you want to go from its last element to first element. For example, suppose you are given a list like this, that L is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you are asked to print this list in reverse direction. That means 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can again write that S is equal to this list, L is equal to this list, and then you can write reverse L equals L colon -1. So then reverse L will be stored 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A list like that will be stored in the reverse L. So this is applicable to every sequence type. Okay, and the standard format is I have already explained, that start, end, and step size. Okay, so this much is very easy. Now let me take one interesting example, because that naturally leads to the second example. Say suppose I take a string like this: S equals MALAYAM, Malayalam, MALAYALAM, Malayalam. Okay, now this is the string, and I write same thing, REVERSED, reversed S equals S, then square bracket, colon, -1. As I write this, and if I print that reverse string, for differentiation, I may write this as the reverse, I may write this as S1, and this I write as reverse S1. And this also I write small, there is a reason, and let us try to print. So you can see, oh, still it is why it is printing that only, reverse the string S1, I am printing S1. Okay. Oh, I have written here S, that is why. Okay. Now you can see one thing, that this is Malayalam, and when I print it in reverse direction, it is still printing Malayalam only. So there are 13 such special strings, which when you read from left to right, or whether you read from right to left, both ways they are the same. Such strings are called palindromes. Another such example is radar. Now if again I execute this, then this is reverse radar, reverse S1, but that also gives radar. Okay, so that is our next line of code, that here it is given that check if a string is palindrome or not. So I have written a simple function, def is palindrome. So this function takes an argument S, So this is the string which I want to check if it, whether it is palindrome or not, and return s equals s colon colon minus 1. Now this is very succinct way. Suppose this string which is put here, that is radar. So what will happen? Left side is radar and right side will also be radar. So in that case this equality will hold, and therefore what you will return? Return of result of this comparison. So result of this comparison is true, then you will return true. But suppose this string is Mumbai. So in that case its reverse is not Mumbai. So this equality, when I try to do comparison, then Mumbai and its reverse is not Mumbai. So in that case this will return false. Okay, now let us try to check it. First I am using test string equals radar. So in that case, is the string palindrome? Now this much just defines function, that we know that it will not do anything, it will not print any output, but I have to call that function. So to call that function, first I defined a test string, and I can call the function within the print statement itself. I can call outside also something like say result equals is underscore palindrome, and then test underscore string. That is also fine, and then thereafter you have to just write here result. So check, call the function is palindrome, pass the test string, that is pass the string radar, and what it will return at that time, so it will return true. So is the string palindrome, then result will be true. Let us check first this. So is the string palindrome, then result is true. But as I said, if I write Mumbai, then its reverse is not Mumbai. So is the string palindrome again, then it returns false. But there is no need of this extra step, that first you call the function, store the value returned by the function in the result, a variable result, and then print that result variable. Ultimately you are printing what? Ultimately you are printing this only. So you can write that same thing directly here. So function call can be embedded inside print statement. That is what I want to say. Okay. Again I first check for Mumbai. So string is not palindrome. It says false. And again I check for say Malayalam, and so it is giving that it is true. Okay. Fine. So this was one related thing. Then this is one another anagram, but that I will do later on. I am taking easy first. So then this is also very easy. For example, a long string is given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and you don't need to worry if you those who cannot follow in the lecture a very detailed explanation much bit longer than perhaps it is required at this level is given. How this code works, each and every line is explained, so you don't need to worry. Okay, so string is this whole long string. Now I am asked that divide this string into separate words and store those separate words in a list. So that means I want a list in which first word is 1, comma, second word is 2, comma, third word is 3, and so on up to the 8. Okay. So then I can use this method of string, that is string dot split. Now here I want to show some important thing. Suppose one forgets that what method was there. He knows that for every string there is some method which can help him split, but then he just have to press after this string. I just put dot and press the tab character, and you can see all the methods whichever are available. Whatever is written function, that you have to write with parenthesis in that is bracket. So somewhere here you will find this split. Okay, but it was a function, so you cannot write just like this. You have to write it this way. So string dot split, and that string dot split, whatever result is given by that is obtained and stored in this variable words, and then you are printing that word. You are also printing the length of that word, which will give how many words are there. Okay, and you are also printing the total length of whole string. So this will give how many words are there, and this will give how many characters are there. Well, this will give a list of all the words 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let us try to execute this, and expected results are obtained output of this first. Okay, so the string is splitted at space character. Now this split method is, if you don't specify anything here, then the string will be splitted at, by default it is splitted at space character. Okay, so wherever space is obtained, space is found in that long string, there a split occurs, and each character, each word is stored in the inside this words list. Okay, then this prints number of words, that is the length of this list. Okay, so 8 words are there, and this prints the length of the string, original string, that is actually prints the number of characters in that string. Okay, now this can have multiple applications. For example, here this is just a small string, but it can be a long paragraph of maybe 10,000 words, and you are asked that store each and every word separately in a list like this. Now can you just find by any other method? No, just take that string of 10,000 words and write string dot split and save the result in some variable. That variable will contain all the words in howsoever long the string is there. 10,000 I have said, but even it can have million words or any number of words. The method will save each word in a string. This is useful in text processing data analytics. For example, there is some branch called NLP, Natural Language Processing, and this is a hot and new branch. And the ChatGPT which I showed, that itself also works on natural language processing. So here, this process at that time is called tokenization, where you divide your long string into small tokens. So these are called tokens. Okay. So this is required sometimes even for ordinary application. Like suppose your school has given you that, or you are giving exam like TOEFL or something, and you are asked that write an essay in 800 words. Now, will the checker check the words like this 1, 2, 3? No. Actually, the words the essay is simply put in this manner, and split function is used, and they are stored, and then len of that array is formed. This is also called array, sometimes list. Actually, array is not very perfect word, but the length of this list is formed, and there will give how many words the student has written. Okay, so this is another application of this method. Okay, so here a detailed explanation is given, so you can read it. Okay. We'll continue this discussion in the next lecture.